What's poppin'? Welcome back to the station. Welcome back to the channel. It is Sunday, September 21st, 2025. Y'all decided to pull up. College football week 4 instant reactions. Dropping this video on Sunday, so hopefully all your NFL teams are balling out today. Your fantasy squads are doing well. If you're new to the channel, we have a good time every time. Well, I ask you to do one thing. Hit the thumbs up button, like the content, subscribe to the channel, comment below. NFL draft. This is what we do, baby. So coming out of week 4, it's like the more college football information we get, the less and less we know. The more information we get, the less and less we know. And it's not because it's a bad thing. It's not because it's a bad class. It's not because it is a class devoid of NFL high caliber talent. It's just a class where nobody has separated themselves to be the number one guy, in particular at the quarterback spot. It's every week we got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different QB1s in the class. And I think rolling out of week 4, the conversation is even going to be more robust as we move forward to week 5 of college football, because Fernando Mendoza put on a show last night for Indiana. This was a big-time test for a quarterback that a lot of people thought could be one of the top quarterbacks in this class coming on. I talked about him earlier in the offseason, and he absolutely delivered. 2 incomplete passes on the night, 21 for 23, 267 yards, 5 touchdowns. And more importantly, it's just how he looks. This is a big quarterback. You're talking about a 6'5", 220-plus pound quarterback who has functional mobility. I'm not going to call him a dual threat. I don't think he's going to be a threat with his legs at all. But in this matchup versus what was then ranked number 9 Illinois, this was a big-time test for Fernando Mendoza. And I thought the way that he looked, the command of the offense, they pulled him out of the game because it was no contest. He was outstanding. He checked every single box. He delivered on national primetime game. And I think more and more people going into week 5 are going to be like, hey, man, you know, we saw Cade Klubnik struggle once again as Clemson fell at home. Just a bad, bad loss to Syracuse. And we didn't see Drew Aller, no Ty Simpson on the field this past weekend. There are people who thought he was the top dog coming into this season. And right now, it's hard to argue how good he's been, that he shouldn't be positioned as one of the top quarterbacks in this class going into week 5. 5 touchdowns, again, 21 for 23 for Mendoza. Elijah Surratt, 9 for 92, 2 touchdowns for him. Omar Cooper, another big game for him. He's got his weapons going. And this is what we talked about. When he transferred from Cal and he came to Indiana, he was going to have an opportunity to really put some good stuff on wax. And so far, through 4 games for Fernando Mendoza, so good. We got to give him his props. He's balling out. Right now, 6'5", 225, 975 yards, 14 touchdowns on the season, no interceptions, 11th in QBR, according to ESPN, which is really, really good. So Fernando Mendoza, absolutely, stock is on the rise following this performance against Illinois, 63-10 victory for Indiana. Let's move on to John Mateer. John Mateer versus Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold revenge game. For y'all that don't know, he was once at Oklahoma, transferred, and now we got John Mateer under center for the Sooners. And in this matchup, Mateer was good. Mateer was good. He was solid in this matchup at home. I'm not going to say there's anything to write home about. You're not going to go crazy over the numbers. 24 for 36, 271, 1 touchdown, no pick. Had 10 carries, 29 yards, 1 touchdown. A lot of punishment. They've got no running game at Oklahoma right now. Deion Burks, one of the primetime receivers for the Sooners, 6 catches, 40 yards in the matchup. I thought Mateer looked good. I talked about it on the show that I dropped a couple of days ago. There are some people starting to question, hey, can his play style truly transition over to the NFL? Can it carry over? He's not the biggest back. You don't want him taking that type of punishment week in and week out. But I thought he was fine in this tough SEC matchup at home versus Auburn. Good win for Oklahoma. They improved to 4-0. Mateer, I think he held serve. I'm not going to say that anything in this performance elevated his draft stock even higher, but it definitely didn't sink it. So Mateer, pretty much he's holding steady right now as one of the top quarterbacks. Other side, Jackson Arnold, 220 yards, 1 touchdown, not enough to get it done in his homecoming return. 20 carries, negative 11 yards. So not a true NFL caliber quarterback, in my opinion, but they do have an NFL caliber receiver, 2 guys, both in Cam Coleman, who's not eligible this year, and Eric Singleton, the transfer from Georgia Tech. Let's move on to Carson Beck. And a lot of people were excited to see Carson Beck this weekend as Miami beat Florida. DJ Lagway still not playing good football. DJ Lagway, 61 total passing yards. Not good for Florida. Billy Napier and company, I'm checking the watch now, see if he still has a job. But Napier and Florida did not play well in this matchup. Now, Carson Beck also didn't play particularly well either. You know, there was a lot of hype around Carson Beck coming into this matchup. A lot of people excited to see what he could do, and I thought he was fine. I thought Beck was fine, not spectacular in this matchup, especially given just the hype and the enthusiasm that a lot of people had coming into the day. College game day was in Miami. He was 17 for 30, 160 yards, 1 interception, no touchdowns, and then he's not going to offer you anything on the ground. This was, I'm not going to call it a statement game. Miami's ranked 4th overall. Florida's 1-3 now. So this wasn't a statement game, but on primetime, on ABC, in front of all the lights, this was one where Carson Beck could have really stamped his name on the class. Like, hey, I've got the experience. I've done it at Georgia. I'm doing it now at Miami. I'm leading the 4th-ranked Hurricanes team towards another ACC title. We're pushing for, a deep college football playoff run. Pay attention to me. And I thought in this one, this is why some people are still not in all the way on Carson Beck. So I don't want to give him a stock down for his performance. They won the game. It was fine. It was fine. Not what you wanted to see from Beck. I'm not going to give him a stock down, but he definitely didn't improve his draft stock in this one. But Mark Fletcher, I just want to keep that name on people's radar. He's a big physical running back. Doesn't have as much explosiveness and juice as you'd like to see from some of the other top running backs, but I'm a big fan of Mark Fletcher's game. So Carson Beck kind of held serve in this one. If anything, I think Fernando Mendoza absolutely outperformed him. LaNorris Sellers, who we'll talk about, performed better than he did. Dante Moore, which I'll talk about in a second, performed better than he did. So if you want to say byproduct of all the other guys playing better, was a stock down. It just wasn't what you wanted to see with all the hype coming in on Carson Beck this week. Taylen Green, quarterback out of Arkansas, was another player that really excited to see versus Memphis. Memphis quietly 4-0 on the season, but Taylen Green was one that a lot of people, again, 6'6", 220 pounds, can run. You see he had 53 yards on the ground in this game. This should have been a bigger passing day. He dropped one in the bucket to his wide receiver. He walks in for the touchdown and just lets the defensive back swat it out of his hands. That's an NFL throw, an NFL catch. 18 for 34, 325, 1 touchdown on the ground, one touchdown through the air, 2 interceptions, 53 yards on the ground. The tools are there. The talent, the traits, the tools, the size, the athleticism, SEC competition. He's been a multi-year starter. All the talent for Taylen Green is there. Yeah, 6'6", 225 pounds, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 4th in the country in QBR. It's just the consistency. It's the consistency game in and game out. And I know for a fact he had a 50-plus yard touchdown pass just flat out dropped, which would have made these stats look even better. Still on the radar for me. I'm still intrigued by Taylen Green, his skill set and his play, but he's going to have to improve to really, really be on the radar as a true high-level NFL draft caliber quarterback. And we know the draft class a lot of time is predicated on what that QB class looks like. So enter Dante Moore from Oregon, who has been outstanding this season. Dante Moore on the season, where's he at? 13th in QBR, 962 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 pick on the season that came last week, where he was outstanding in this one. 21 for 31, 305, 4 touchdowns as Oregon beat down Oregon State. It was not a close contest in this one. Let me just get this out of the way. Makai Hughes, out of the way. 6 for 33. Excited for Makai Hughes coming in, but it's just not materializing for him in the running game. But Dante Moore in particular, I think he's a special quarterback. I really do. I think this is a quarterback who could absolutely be a number 1 overall pick. No doubt about it. Arm strength. He's got the mobility. 7 carries, 53 yards in this one. Again, wouldn't consider him like a true dual threat quarterback, but he's got enough functional mobility to move around, extend plays. The arm talent is there. My biggest issue with Dante Moore has nothing to do with his game. It's the fact that you're talking about pretty much a 1-year starter. He played a little bit as a true freshman at UCLA, and you could see he didn't play well right? 53% completion percentage. He had 8 pass attempts on the year last year. So this is his first true year starting in a situation in an offensive environment that is conducive of success. Moore, 6'3", he's got the size, 210 pounds. He's a young player. This is just one of those guys where if I were banking on him coming out this year for 2026, I'd say probably not. Feels more like a 2027 guy. But if he continues to lead this Oregon Ducks team to an undefeated season, he has a strong college football playoff run. We saw how the draft community and analysts and people tried to push players like Drew Aller into the draft last year. They opted to come back. I think he could have that type of run, and maybe he does declare. But right now, I'm still kind of putting Dante Moore in the 2027 bucket. He's kind of in the 2027 class bucket for me. So Dante Moore, awesome, incredible quarterback. Just, I'm not banking on him being a part of this class. Just like Arch Manning wasn't banking on that. But Moore definitely has the weapons around him. He's going to have the high-profile squad, and they're probably going to make a deep playoff push. So Dante Moore, name to keep on your radar. Absolutely right there with Mendoza, with John Mateer. And we're not gonna kick Garrett Nussmeier out of the QB1 conversation just yet. No competition in this one as LSU rolled against Southeastern Louisiana. Nussmeier, 25 for 31, 273, 3 touchdowns. And he scored a rushing touchdown on the ground. That's not his calling card. That's not what he does. It's just good to see Nuss play well because it's been a little up and down for him on the season. 33rd in QBR. He's got 6 passing touchdowns on the season. You go look through his game logs. 223-1 versus Clemson. La Tech, 227-1. Florida, 220-1 with 1 interception. So this was good to see him get off of the just kind of mid play. He's been pretty mid so far throughout the season. Most people's QB1. I saw the poll that was put out there that if people had to vote right now from the ESPN executive poll, that it would be LaNorris Sellers 1, Garrett Nussmeier 2. I'm not so sure about that. These are the same people that said Arch Manning was going to be number 1 overall. So I'm not buying none of the shit that they're feeding right now. Garrett Nussmeier is in a battle for the top quarterback. I don't think he's got some of the physical tools as multiple QBs. He doesn't have the tools of Dante Moore. He doesn't have the physical tools of a LaNorris Sellers or a Fernando Mendoza. What you're hoping for is he beats people with the experience, the accuracy, the anticipatory throws. And so far through 2025, he's been just okay in that department. So Garrett Nussmeier, good performance, very low competition. His stock just kind of remains the same. Stock remains the same. Now, a rising player for sure, stock-wise. No, and I am, you see the helmet behind me, I am a USC homer, so I'm very critical of USC players. I'm very critical of overhyping, right? I don't want to be considered a homer here. But Jayden Maiava I think he might be for real. I think Jayden Maiava might be for real. Almost 1,000 yards on the season, first in ESPN QBR, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions for him on the season. He's operating this Lincoln Riley offense efficiently, and this is a quarterback who has had experience starting. Was at UNLV before transferring to SC last year. Last year, they did the flip-flop between Miller Moss and Jayden Maiava, but he won this job. Miller Moss transferred, and in this game versus Michigan State, their first true test, Aiden Childs had 3 touchdowns in this game. Omari Kelly from Michigan State, I talked about him with my dog Cody Carpentier from Roster Watch week 1. I was like, hey, that number 1 from Michigan State can play. He's 6 for 133 and 1 touchdown. Very good for Omari Kelly at Michigan State. But speaking of Maiava, like he can move around, 2 rushing touchdowns. He's fast. I think a lot of people get scared just being real because of the USC quarterbacks of the past. He wears number 14 just like Sam Darnold. He's light-skinned like Caleb Williams, and we see the struggles that he has coming out of this Lincoln Riley offense. But Maiava seems a little more poised in the pocket. He's got good touch on the ball, and he leads ESPN and QBR. Like, this is an important stat, and you go through and look at some of the highly drafted quarterbacks who are having success. Like, this is a decent little metric right here to pay attention to. So Maiava versus Michigan State at home. USC is 4-0 on the season. I think he's going to be there. Like, this is another one of those guys who's eligible for the draft this year. Does he come out? We'll see. But if he keeps playing the way that he's playing and feeding the weapons that he does, it's going to be hard to make the case that he's not. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. So he's got experience. He's got the size. The arm talent isn't an issue. Very impressed with Maiava. And he's accurate with the football. Not putting the football in harm's way. Very, very important. We're going to stick with USC because I want to pivot to the running back position. Waymond Jordan, talked about him a couple of weeks ago. He stands just like Ashton Jeanty. This is an explosive running back. Number one JUCO recruit at the running back position last year. USC got him 5'9", 210, 39 carries, 286, 3 touchdowns on the ground, and chunk plays galore in this game. If you didn't watch this one, I mean, he is just ripping off chunk play after chunk play. 18 for $157, also 2 catches for 25 yards. In a running back class that has, I don't want to say it's disappointed because we've gotten some really, really positive information from some of the backs. This is a pleasant surprise. If I had to do a top 5 right now, Waymond Jordan is right there at the cusp of 5 or right outside of 5. Size, speed, athleticism, physicality, and he's producing on a really good team. So Waymond Jordan, outstanding, and Makai Lemon is a top 3 receiver in this class. Makai Lemon out of USC, his running mate Jacoby Lane, I know gets a lot of the pub because he's the bigger receiver. He's 6'4", 215 pounds. But at 5'11", 195, Makai Lemon's got some Amon-Ra St. Brown / Emeka Egbuka to his game. 8 catches, 127, and a touchdown in this one. He's physical. He's fast. He's got that, people say that dog in him. Makai Lemon's got that. Can return kicks, can return punts. When I'm looking at the top receivers in this class right now, Makai Lemon, big-time riser. You got Lemon rising. Jordan Tyson still doing his thing. Carnell Tate out of Ohio State. And then we've got what's happening at Washington with Denzel Boston, who's been outstanding this season as well. Denzel, 16, 249, 3 touchdowns, 6'4", 209. This is a big wide receiver, and he was good last year. 834 yards last year, 9 touchdowns, didn't leave with Kalen DeBoer to go to Alabama. This whole Washington offense, Damon Williams Jr. is a stud. I mean, he feels like a future Heisman Trophy candidate. He's electric. He's dynamic on the ground and through the air. You saw 16 for 19, 300 yards passing, 4 TDs, 88 on the ground, 1 touchdown. Jonah Coleman, man. Top 3 running backs in this class as follows. Jeremiyah Love, Jonah Coleman, Justice Haynes. The player I would least want to tackle head up in college football is Jonah Coleman. Ain't no doubt about it. This dude is running with bad intentions every rip. 5'9", 228 pounds, 51 carries, 347 and 9 TDs on the ground. But what's most impressive about him this year is his ability to catch. He's throwing him the ball. 6 for 104 and a touchdown, longer 45 in this one. Jonah Coleman, top 3 running back in this class. Denzel Boston playing like a top 5 wide receiver in this class. This thing is shaping up to be quite good right now as we look at some of the skill position players. Big game for Coleman, big game for Washington. Denzel Boston did his thing. We talked about Waymond Jordan. And then at Notre Dame, we've been wanting to see the big Jeremiyah Love game. We've been wanting to see the big Jeremiyah Love game, and damn it, we got it in this one. But not just from Jeremiyah Love, who was outstanding. This is why he's the RB1 in this class. 19 carries, $157, 2 touchdowns. His suddenness. I was talking to one of the scouts at Bleacher Report, my dog Damian Parsons, shout out to DP, was talking to him about everybody focuses on acceleration, how quickly players can get up to top end speed. I want to see you accelerate, but I also want to see you decelerate. How quickly can you bring it down and then ramp it back up? That transition in phase from fast to slow to fast, that speed to pace to speed transition, Jeremiyah Love, outstanding in this matchup. It was good to see that this week from him. But his running mate, Jadarian Price, and I talked about him in last week's Stock Up show going into week 4, that this is one of those running backs that he's not going to have the same counting stats as Jeremiyah Love. He's not as athletically gifted as Jeremiyah Love. But Jadarian Price, 9 for 74, 3 touchdowns on the ground. He also had a 100-plus yard kick return for a touchdown in this one. he doesn't have the fluidity of Jeremiyah Love. Jeremiyah Love, he's on skates, right? He's literally on skates out there moving around. Jadarian Price, one cut, get downfield, get downhill. I'm hitting the hole. I'm going to punish you. I'm going to run past you. This feels like one of those backfields, Ronnie Brown, Cadillac Williams, Felix Jones, Darren McFadden, Tashard Choice when he was in the backfield with all those running backs at Georgia. Like, this feels like a really, really dope 1-2 punch, and they're going to be drafted accordingly. Jeremiyah Love is going to get drafted ahead of Jadarian Price, but if Price declares, he's going to make an NFL team very, very happy. He's going to make an NFL squad very, very happy. I was impressed by Jadarian Price. He definitely lived up to the let's give him some love going into the week, sort of, the expectations that I put upon him going into the week. And then the final running back I want to touch on plays at Michigan. This is RB3 for me right now. I'm good with calling it right now. Michigan running back Justice Haynes. Justice Haynes, 17 carries, $149. It's up to 537, 6 touchdowns, 8.1 an attempt, 5'11", 210 pounds. Hey, Alabama, y'all probably could have used this kid. You probably could have used this kid. He can catch the ball. He's running well between the tackles. Listen, outside of Coleman and Ahmad Hardy, Justice Haynes has been doing his thing. Too bad we got to wait on Ahmad Hardy. We can't get him in the draft right now. He's got to chill a little bit, and I'll pull him up in a minute. But Haynes has been incredible this year. Bryce Underwood, young freshman quarterback, they're getting it done on the road at Nebraska. Justice Haynes right there at the top. Big time riser coming out of week 4, going into week 5. I think them your big 3. It's Jeremiyah Love, Jonah Coleman, and Justice Haynes in that order. South Carolina's LaNorris Sellers. We're going to end it right here. South Carolina's LaNorris Sellers. This is a player who was injured a couple weeks ago, back this week. I don't even know if he was 100% healthy, but he was 100% good. 18 for 28, 302, 2 touchdowns, downfield throws. You see him working from the pocket. Didn't run for anything in this one, right? Negative 28 yards rushing for LaNorris Sellers. They did the NFL, ESPN did that poll, right? Who should be the QB1 of this class? And LaNorris Sellers edged out everybody for the top spot. And I think a byproduct of that is the talent, the tools, the upside. What can you teach? I'm not there yet. I'm still not there all the way yet with Sellers being, the number 1 guy in this class. He's taken 12 sacks on the season, which is a big-time problem. 12 sacks, and we've only played a few games so far for Sellers. 12 sacks in how many games we got for Sellers? 1, 2, 3, 4 games. 4 games and 12 sacks. So we're talking 3 sacks a game. And that's something that I'm taking into consideration a little bit more this year, that pressure to sack ratio. But there's no doubt about it. His physical gifts, his physical tools are head and shoulders, above just about everybody in this class. And I did talk about Ahmad Hardy, who is 79 for 600. It's unfortunate we got to wait for him and Isaac Brown for another year. But 2 incredible running backs, Ahmad Hardy and Isaac Brown out of Louisville. But Sellers, we just want to see him continue to stack these days. Stack these games, stack these days. So coming out of week 4, you got to give a big stock up for Fernando Mendoza. You've got to give a big stock up for Dante Moore, even though I don't think he's going to be a part of this class. Jayden Maiava, Waymond Jordan, Denzel Boston, big-time risers in this class. And then we get some of the other big-time players next week. We get Penn State back next week. We get Alabama back versus Georgia next week. So we'll do this, man. I'm probably going to dive into some more of the individual players throughout the week. YouTube just be tripping right now, man. Copywriting everything, all 22. So just got to kind of talk about these guys a little bit more. So hopefully this gives you some halftime relief to your Sunday night football game, to your Sunday games. Hit the thumbs up button. Like the content on the channel. It's NFL draft time all the time. It's good over here. Much love. Appreciate y'all. Enjoy it. And I'll see y'all next week for week 5, baby.